This is VRChat. It's a place where the limits of reality are your own imagination. You can do anything and go anywhere. You can go on vacation. You can surf a 50-foot monster wave in Hawaii. You can have a romantic dinner on the beach, and you can even climb Mount Everest. With Batman. Check out this place, it's a VR club. You can lose your money there, you can get married, you can get divorced, and you can go in there, and you can do that. People come to VRChat for all the things that they can do, but they stay because of all the things that they can be. Tall, beautiful, scary, a different sex, a different species, live action, cartoon, it's all your call. Some people even live in VRChat, except for eating and bathroom breaks, of course. Whatever people want to do, they can do it here in VRChat. And since like-minded people are here, this is where they come to meet each other. This is where they can make friends. And then there's Neos. Neos is a revolutionary virtual community, a peer-to-peer real-time collaboration platform for creators, educators, and communities, powered by the versatile Neos Fruits engine. The platform allows users to bring in avatars, props, worlds and files, and much more to create a diverse, creative platform. I won't cover the history of Neos here as the story is incredibly long, but the most important part of Neos is the Neos engine, the aforementioned Fruits engine. A VR game engine way ahead of its time, allowing its users to push the platform to its absolute limits. This even includes much appreciated features such as haptics and mouth tracking support. In this documentary, I want to cast an eye to the incredible communities that have been formed within these platforms, using the power of VR and XR technologies to create something incredible. We will be covering the virtual reality entertainment industry with a deep dive into VRChat's performance and dance industry, as well as a deep dive into Neos' very own interactive VR meta-movie. We will then dive into VRChat's lifestyle, taking a look at how VRChat users utilize the platform before finally discussing Neos' amazing creative community. So, without any further ado, join me as we dive down the jaw-dropping rabbit hole that is social VR. The VR entertainment industry is phenomenal. In VR, it's always nighttime somewhere and daytime somewhere else. This means that there is almost always a party or event of some kind happening in VR, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This aids in the creation and expression of so much talent, from VR DJs to creator events, filmmaking, esports, and even the performing arts. When I began researching social VR entertainment communities, I did not think that the rabbit hole would burrow as deep as it has. However, after meeting the amazing people that I did, I am genuinely in love with this community. I began by taking a look at the VR dance community, a community I have known about and loosely followed for a while, but honestly I've never really looked past the surface into it. As I watched more and more content about the VR dance community, I got more and more invested until eventually I decided to reach out to the queen of VR dance herself, Dust Bunny. For those who don't know, Dusty is a virtual reality dance instructor and founder of the Virtual Reality Dance Academy. A dance academy set up inside of VRChat that offers everything from beginner to advanced dance classes, ranging across a broad range of styles. So I set up an interview with Dusty, eager to learn more about the industry.
Hello, I'm Dust Bunny, and I'm a dance teacher in VRChat, and I teach at the Virtual Reality Dance Academy that I started in January of 2022. And you can follow me on Twitter at DustBunnyVR. I also have a YouTube and a Twitch, and you can just find me by searching Dusty Dust Bunny. So I discovered VRChat from a YouTube video with the Uganda Knuckles meme.
You don't know the way.
Yes, I do.
Do you know the way?
I know the way.
You have to have Ebola to know the way.
I have Ebola.
It doesn't know the way. To know the way. To know the way.
And I thought it was so funny that I should join the game, so I joined in desktop mode, and that was in December of 2018. And while I was playing the game, I discovered people using full body tracking, and I knew I had to join because I'm a dancer. I've been dancing since 2003, so I was like, I need to move my body just like these people in this game. This is so cool. So I've been using VR ever since. So what kept me sticking around here in VRChat was, one, the full body tracking, being able to dance as any character as I wanted to in various virtual spaces, but also the social connections I was making with people really made me stick around here. So the social part of VR has made a very big impact on my life because when I first joined VRChat, I was going through some personal changes in relationships, and I was feeling really lonely, and I wanted to get to know other people and have a new group of friends. And then when 2020 hit, we actually went through the pandemic.
2020 is now the deadliest year in U.S. history.
What began as a faraway outbreak in China.
There is growing concern at this hour over a possible outbreak of a mystery virus.
And that made me feel even more isolated from other people outside of my computer. And so I found that being in VRChat, socializing was really easy during those hard times, and it got me through it. So I became a full-body dancer in VRChat because I wanted to attend dance events in VR, like live DJ events where you could dance. So initially it was just for fun, but then when I started being a streamer on Twitch, I thought that it would be perfect content as well to be a dancer on stream. So I just continued dancing in VR, and I also joined another dance community called the International Dance Association, where they hosted hip-hop battles and showcases. And so that encouraged me to keep using my VR to learn hip-hop dancing, because I've only ever done belly dance and ballroom since like 2003. So I really wanted to learn the new style of hip-hop. And I did that all in VR. So yeah, I just stuck around in full body because there were so many dance opportunities. We were doing the alphabet, so you have to dance as if you're spelling out the alphabet from A to Z. So things like, you know, A would turn into a dance move, or B, whatever you interpret, that's a concept. Sweeping your house, that's a concept. You know, since it's improvised dance, you're kind of acting at the same time you're dancing. So one concept that's really easy to work with when you're a beginner freestyler is the concept of shapes. So any shape you can imagine: square, circle, triangle, rectangle, stop sign, whatever that's called, hexagon, whatever, right? I don't know. You don't want to get too complex with your shape, okay? I started dance teaching in 2018. I would host belly dance classes every Sunday. But when the pandemic hit, I noticed that a whole bunch of dance studios around the world were closing down, including one that I was also at. And I thought it would be a really good idea for me to offer classes more often here in VR during the pandemic when people couldn't go out and go to the studios. So it was a perfect opportunity for me to pursue my dream, which is to own my own dance studio. And so I decided to just start hosting more classes, more variety of classes based on the knowledge that I already knew, like belly dance, ballroom, hip hop, hula dancing, all sorts of dance styles that I've learned over the years. I decided to just start hosting my own classes here in VR, and I just recently quit my job to pursue that career, and it's working out great. So the VR Dance Academy, I wanted to give people a place to come so they could learn dance lessons for free and also for an affordable price, just in the comfort of their own home. And it's been a really amazing experience for me as a dance teacher, because even though I'm not there physically, I'm still having an impact on people's lives just to hop in VR inside their own home. And we've been able to build a whole community of dancers who get to learn how to dance together and socialize and feel like they're a part of a dance family. If you're interested in full body dancing, I highly recommend it. It is an expensive hobby. You need a good gaming computer and of course all the equipment. But if you are interested in learning to dance, getting some exercise while also socializing in a virtual world with real people, I highly recommend it because it's so much fun and such a unique experience that you wouldn't get in real life. For example, when I teach my yoga classes, we can just go to a beach world and feel like we're doing yoga on the beach. So there's so many different things you can do here that you can't do in real life. So I'm totally for it. It is a little bit of a pain in the butt to set up, but once you've got it going, it's so much fun. So I believe that the VR entertainment industry has a very promising future. I'm currently living in it right now. I'm a dance performer. We're going to be having a student showcase here on October 1st. So we're going to be showcasing what we've been learning in class. So that's one form of entertainment you could come watch. There's so many films that have been made in VRChat using the VRC lens. For example, the documentary We Met in Virtual Reality, which I'm also a subject in, is already on HBO. So that's the first documentary of its kind to be published out in the world from VRChat. So there's so many opportunities. I also used to attend a live improv show here in VRChat. So it's like the possibilities are endless here in terms of entertainment. You could have dancers, music, live DJ events, movies being filmed, movies being shown, you name it. I just wanted to say that if you are interested in taking dance classes here in VR with me, you can go to vrdance.org. That's the website where you can check out what classes we have going on here in VRChat. And also, if you play VRChat, be sure to search 8Spark in the world's search, because then you can come check out our dance studios here in VRChat.
After our chat, Dusty asked me if I would like to come along to one of her classes to film some footage for this very film. Little did I know that this one dance class would throw me even deeper into the world of VR dance. Upon arriving and introducing myself to the dancers, I decided that despite not having full body tracking, I would still give my best shot at participating in the class. I began to dance for the first time since I was a little kid, and the memories of my young self taking hip-hop classes came flooding back, and I found myself genuinely having a lot of fun. After the class ended and everyone trickled out, I removed my headset and honestly, I just stared at my wall as the adrenaline pumped around my body. Not only had I just had an awesome time, but I also got to watch some awesome talented people share their amazing talent with me. A couple of days passed and I found myself rocking up to another of Dusty's classes. Not to record or interview anyone, but just to let loose and dance, and before I knew it, I became invested in the VR Dance Academy. The amazing talent these students possessed was just so much for me to jump into, so I even turned up to their student showcase and watched it live, and was left once again in utter, complete disbelief. Virtual reality, being used as a tool to bring like-minded people together, and share their talents from all across the world. It was a spectacle to behold. I continued to talk to more and more of the students to learn about why they dance and who they really are. I continued to attend Dusty's dance classes because they were simply just fun. It resparked my childhood love of dance once again, and I even went out and invested in my own set of Vive trackers and base stations just so I could dance with my full body. One incredibly amazing community in VRChat that has and continues to be overlooked by many, and is genuinely one of the coolest and most incredible things I have ever seen inside of VR. The VR Dance Academy brings people together, and no matter your skill or experience, it creates a safe environment for people to dance and have fun without judgment or any crazy dancing tuition fees. Many of Dusty's dance classes are actually free, and you could go and attend them right now. Memberships for the more advanced and beginner classes start at $10 a month, so you're really not losing out on much there. If you are interested in the Virtual Reality Dance Academy and want to become a student, or if you just want to learn more about them or donate, you can visit them at their website, vrdance.org. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to both Dusty and the students for helping me explore the amazing side of VR that is the VR dance community. I next decided to explore another aspect of VR entertainment, that being the creation of interactive films. So I asked the Neos community about this, and I uncovered the Meta Movie, an awesome fully interactive VR movie where you play the protagonist and make decisions that influence the story. I knew I had to learn more about this, so I jumped straight into VRChat to interview some of the Meta Movie team, as at the time I didn't have access to my PC to meet them in Neos.
I was stuck at a really mind-numbing job. I was really good at it and it paid really well, but I was just kind of losing my mind doing the same monotonous stuff over and over and over again. And eventually just kind of snapped and I quit one day because I just couldn't take it anymore and decided I was going to, spend my tax return buying a new computer, the VR equipment. I was just going to throw myself into it and start developing software. And so I did, and I've got a couple of things out on the market.
With me, it was a case of I've always been sort of jump on interesting technologies. It was a case of, well, VR looks like it's doable now. So, of course, when the Vive and the original Rift were coming out, we're like, yes, it's a lot of money, but it's not in it. It looks amazing. It's going to be cool. It's probably the next big step in stuff. So yeah, I bought one of those. It was rough, I think it's probably the best way of phrasing it, given that it was kind of the latest version of first gen, because I guess first gen would have been back in the 90s, but this century's first gen. And that was great fun. Then as soon as the Index came out, it's like, yes. So I bought the Index as soon as that came out. By that point, I'd been using VR a lot by that stage, and it was a case of, yeah, this seems like an amazing thing to get into.
My husband's a big gamer, so we got 2016, we got the Oculus Rift, and then he put it aside. And then in 2017, I saw an audition notice, because I'm an actor, and I knew we had the equipment. I just played around with it a little bit. And so I jumped into social VR, had an audition in social VR, and I've been working with Jason on the Meta Movie project since 2017. So that's the first iteration of that. And yeah, it was basically like right time, right place, had the equipment, and being female helped too, because there were a lot more, well, I mean, as far as like actor people with equipment and gamers and stuff, it tended to be more guys. Of course, it's equaled out quite a bit, but it was, for a long time, it was like, for a good like 2 or 3 years, it was like the one girl on the Meta Movie team.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so I just kind of stuck around. Yeah, until Marinda came around, and that was like the second actress he found. So Up till then, it was like dude actors. So basically auditioned. We started off in the platform High Fidelity, which was one of Philip Rosedale's various platforms.
Creator of
so our
Second Life.
first 2 shows were in there, and we had the meta movie's like a series of tests, and so we just keep testing new things that are possible in social VR theater. And our first 2 shows were in High Fidelity, and then High Fidelity dropped public support, and then we just we settled on Neos because Neos is the most cutting edge and flexible and allows for collaboration in a way that other
In real time,
platforms
yes.
don't allow.
Do you think that there's more benefits of working in VR working in VR than there are in real life? Or does it just cause more problems in your experience?
Oh, I'd have to say both. There's certainly so much more that you can accomplish in VR. But I mean, you're going to run into so many more difficulties just because of the technicality and everything. And then it's going to be different stuff than you'd necessarily run into in a stage production. Nicole, I know, can back me up on this. Similar but different issues.
To be fair, unless you're Disney doing the Space Cruiser experience and have that kind of money, I mean, it's a lot easier to make something that's not, it's like the budget for Meta Movie, it was always on the smaller side, and so it's a lot easier to create fantastical things. You can't fly in real life. You can't do a bunch of things, and so it opens up a lot of possibilities.
We didn't have to build all the sets, physically, things like that. And God, could you imagine the maintenance if we had?
And also from an actor's perspective, from an actor's perspective, you can play anything you want, and sort of fantastical characters are a lot easier to come by. In the show, I play a sexy redhead. Well, she's sort of sexy. She's a badass, sexy redhead, mercenary vegan girl. And it's in real life, I'm a, slightly rotund, brown-haired girl with pale skin that looks like a vampire. So, I mean, that's you can kind of just, change avatars, change characters, and, you could play whatever,
To that point, Miranda, for instance, not only plays all the AI characters, but runs through as several of the critters and stuff, too. Those are some costume changes, you really couldn't pull off quite so quick in a stage production and stuff. So, yeah, there's certainly benefits to doing this in VR.
And also, we're on our show, we have people on 3 different continents working the show at the same time. We've got, Europe, we've got Africa, and we've got North America. And we're all working
and our
at the same
audience can
time.
come from all over the place.
Yeah, our last guest was from South Korea, so it's you can come in from anywhere and experience it. In Neos, most of us are using the Vive face trackers, and so the one limitation of VR in most of the platforms is that you're using your body, and you're not really using your face because you don't have the face tracking. But in Neos, we have face tracking, and so it adds that extra dimension.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Okay, we'll cover them from behind, okay? This way, got some coverage by Baxter if you need to recover.
Is that a warning system?
Ooh, you hear that?
Or is it malfunctioning?
Nope.
Here's something.
There's skittering up ahead.
Oh, let's just keep our eyes peeled.
Hey guys, slow it down.
You okay?
And watch yourselves.
Whoa. Careful.
There's skittering up ahead.
Give it room.
There it is. What is that?
Give it room.
Whoa.
Give
Clear.
it room.
Whoa.
Give it room.
Oh, nice job.
You guys okay?
Ease up, cowboy.
What?
Hey, good shooting.
Everybody's okay?
I mean, yeah, we're all fine. It's just, look. It ran right past them. It ran right past them. And
I didn't know that big dumb.
I thought it was charging Wookiee.
Huh?
Oh, blame me, sure.
we don't know what the creatures in here have been through. I mean, it might have just been terrified and looking to escape. I mean, we just don't.
Yeah, he's got
Look, we're in cramped quarters here. Anything comes at me, big or small, I'd shoot to kill, too. Good job, Wookiee. Oh, look out, you.
So unfortunately, obviously the Quest 2 is starting to kill off PC VR. Do you think that is going to be a long-term thing, or do you think PC VR is going to make a comeback? And also, do you think that this technology and doing entertainment inside VR and using this technology is going to be a big part of the future?
Well, I for one would have to say that while I'm disappointed that we are getting a degradation in quality for the VR experience because of the mobility of the PC, of the Quest 2, eventually its capabilities, or the portable VR capabilities, are going to catch up, and it's going to be the same experience that we're having right now on PC VR. Granted, by that point, PC VR could be even better, but at some point, it's just not going to make a whole hell of a lot of difference. Right now, I think even the portable experience is enough to motivate people to get in here, start doing things, make it better, faster, stronger, all of that. Just the fact that we're getting more attention on the space is going to make it better. It's going to be a thing. VR, AR, XR, whatever the hell you want to call it, is just the future. It's inevitable.
In regard to the meta movie, whatever is the most technologically capable that allows for the most photorealistic avatars, the grandest faces, facial tracking, all of that stuff, that is where we will go. And it's also the real-time, like in Neos, collaborative building. That's really important to our project as well. And so if the technology allows that, that's the first priority, and then having a large amount of people and accessibility to the largest amount of people, it's a close second priority. But really, it's learning about the process and keeping on the cutting edge, which I know is definitely the priority of the Meta Movie project.
But in reality, I don't think it's going to kill off PC VR, because if you've ever used standalone Quest applications and PC VR applications, there is a world of difference between the two. Yeah. Because it's basically comparing standard PC gaming to mobile phone gaming, because that is literally what it is. There will be a lot of people that like the casual stuff too, but that's fine. But then on the other hand, if people are making casual games like that, chances are those games are likely to be cross-ported anyway, because if they're relatively simple games made in Unity or whatever, it's easy to also build those for PC VR. Because you just target Quest, then port it to PC VR, and there'll be so little you have to change for it. It's the other way around that's difficult. But I think in reality, PCVR is just going to continue to grow.
I certainly hope it's going to grow and expand. I mean, we've spent a couple of years here now just on this project alone. We're heavily invested. We're really only just getting started now after the Raindance Film Festival. We're starting to run our first public shows, doing private shows, things like that. We're in this for the long haul, and I expect that as word gets out and people hear, other people enjoyment of the experience and stuff, more and more people will come in and join us and really, really start to take on this kind of new immersive entertainment. That said, I'm just hoping.
There's all these kinds of entertainment that people play a part in. They play a part in the experience, and they might affect the outcome of the experience. And there's no better place to have that kind of agency than in VR and in the types of experiences that VR theater makers are developing. So I certainly hope so. Invested 5 years into it at this point. But I think it's a little bit more than wishful thinking. I think it's an overall trend of people not necessarily wanting to watch things on a screen or on a stage, but actually being part of the experience.
One thing that I've learned from conducting these interviews is that the VR entertainment industry is just incredible. The sheer creativity and innovation of both the Metamovie team and the students at the VRDA is truly inspiring and helps physically bring people together in a virtual space through their shared passions. I know I'm definitely not done with the VR entertainment industry, and I will definitely be back again.
Wave double signs!
Diamond
1, 2, 3, let's go!
For many people in VRChat, virtual reality is their reality. Thousands of users spend countless hours sucked into the virtual world every single day, to the point where VRChat has developed its own culture and etiquette. However, this culture is hard to define, as the platform was never built to cater to one type of person. This creates a broad split in communities that are often polar opposites. For example, there is the clubbing crowd, an amazing place for people from all around the world to get together and party. Many combine this with drinking and full body tracking to simulate the effects of real-world raves, with some worlds even featuring fake virtual drugs. In many aspects, clubbing at home with a headset on is a lot safer than going to a real club. You can control the amount of alcohol in the house, you can control where you are, and nobody can physically manipulate you, right? Well, unfortunately, as great as VRChat clubs can be, they come with many of the caveats of real clubs, as well as a few new problems of their own. People still drink and overdose on drugs inside of VR, and some are even more impelled to do so because of the nature of the platform and the lack of time zone restrictions. This, in some cases, causes a lot of people to become recluse and depend on VRChat. At a certain point, VRChat itself becomes the drug. And sure, for many users this is not an issue and they can enjoy clubs on a surface level, but for other, more vulnerable users, they're not so lucky. Furthermore, many are left to deal with more toxic encounters. Sometimes these can just be seen as drunk people being stupid, however in many occasions the situation can escalate much further, especially for those with phantom sense, haptics, or full body tracking. Phantom sense is a term used to describe users who can sense physical touch in the real body when touched or touching something inside of a virtual world. This combined with enhancements such as full body tracking and haptics can create a much more immersive and lifelike VR experience. However, can also make some people more susceptible to sexual assault in VRChat, especially in clubs. No matter whether real or virtual, sexual assault, harassment, and assault in general are just not okay, and just because it's in VRChat doesn't make it any less real. This doesn't always necessarily have to be physical either. Many drunk and unruly users express their thoughts aloud through vocal abuse.
No one cares about you, no one cares for you, and no one cares what you say. And no one even cares what you're gonna do. So, yeah, you brain dead.
Guys, leave. Don't even come in
Yo,
here.
baby, ew. Go get a haircut, cunt.
Oh my god.
Go get a haircut. How you gonna get a bow cut, motherfucker, in VR?
You're not even letting anyone walk in before you harass them.
Oh, baby girl, who's this new hoe?
like your look.
New hoe
It's pretty
drop.
unique.
Yo, bitch, stop moving.
Benji, if you want that.
You should die. Suck at life, and you should rage slowly and romantically. Painfully slow.
Just went to bed. New bitch dropped.
Baby girl, how about you open this door? Let me know. Some ERP, baby. But I can add an extra letter and give you that D.
Oh, me and my brother joined?
Damn, you a fine ass hoe. Let open up the door and let me in your hole.
I'm not sure which sparkle it is.
Open up those doors so we can open up your legs and get freaky. Baby girl. Baby girl, I haven't jerked up for 20 years. Let me in. Come on, baby girl. Let me in.
I'm back.
We want to know so.
Wait. Come on.
So I'm a bit confused, right?
We literally been online a couple times. We didn't friend each other, but me and your homies are cool. Let me in, baby girl. Me and are cool. Come on, let me in.
Greek. Look, Cyprus originally...
Let me leech up your VIP, baby girl. Let me through. Let me leech up your VIP. Let me in.
Despite this awful dark side of the VRChat club scene, the majority of the community is brilliant. Privately hosted events are a fantastic way to work around the issues with the scene. They are heavily moderated, they monitor the users in an instance, and generally kick and ban anyone who causes any problems, and they make sure that everyone in the instance is of the age required for the event. This makes VRChat clubs such fun events to dance and have fun at, for whatever reason. I've personally been to a few myself, including those hosted by Tube VR, and more recently to the Land of Future weekly DJ set, hosted in the up-and-coming Club Orion venue. This was my first time attending with full body tracking, and it was incredible. I even got a few friends to hop into a private instance of the club to film some shots for this video, and even with just a small group of us in a private setting, we had a honestly great time. However, as I said, VRChat culture is almost impossible to define, and clubbing is just a small part of that culture. VRChat's most common social group are what I like to call the chill-outs. These people get on anywhere from once a week, to once every few weeks, to even every day, just to hang out in VR and play some games. This group accommodates for both real-life friends who just want to meet virtually, and for those who have met in the online world. Some communities even host weekly meetup events, such as the VRDA from earlier in the video, who host a weekly community meetup that is open to everyone.
We're ready for get him.
Here we go!
Oh my god!
Straight to the bottom.
Shoot, man.
No. It looks like a pool floaty down there.
I got you.
Wait. I was
Okay, here we go.
What do I do? Do I just find a gun?
You find money and then buy a gun and then kill whoever you think is the gun.
Then you traffic drugs.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh,
Put it
that's
in
good.
the
Put
attic.
it on the wall.
Yeah, those are good. Go to the second floor.
Hey.
Right?
Oh wait.
There's a thing in the hedge maze, by the way. If you got extra cash, I don't have
An
cash.
empty gun.
Okay.
Wait.
Did you just kill somebody?
Somebody lost.
Listen. Let me explain.
Yeah. Hey, no. I just seen you drop somebody right there.
He was mad sus. So I pulled the trigger, right? I was in the corner. He was walking up to me. I pulled the trigger. I saw orange icon saying suspicious. I was like, well, clearly I'm not suspicious. But now I realize it's because I shot someone. So,
What?
Haha. Alright, so
okay,
story.
Kill him. Kill him.
I don't know.
Kill him.
Guys buying it?
I'm suspicious. I'm buying it.
Alright, I'll put up some evidence.
I don't know. Let's see what happens.
No, don't kill him.
I want to see.
I saw an orange diamond around him, so I thought he was suspicious. But apparently it was me.
I found two of them clues.
Shigar's one of them. They're
Rolling around. Cutting it.
I don't like Sardini.
Whoa!
Okay, here we go. Over.
I walk away for 5 minutes. And I come back to this.
We're leaked.
Find the sword.
There's a leak in the building.
Oh my god.
Medium menu.
The pool is getting flooded.
The setting. And you bring
I'm
up
heading
the
out now.
big menu.
Oh, okay, let's hug you bye. Hug the ankles.
I'm
Bye
coming all the way
bye.
down.
Ah, you sat on me.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Peace out, man.
Have a good weekend. Oh my
Nice
god, the
work.
mannequin.
Meetups like this gives VRChat friend groups a sense of community, and allows anyone from anywhere to physically interact with one another on a personal level that phone and video calls just can't accomplish. Being able to interact one-on-one with somebody thousands of miles away is a truly special experience, especially when that form of communication is used to show a loved one or significant other affection. And it's platforms such as VRChat that bring that reality to online virtual relationships. In a world where you can look like anyone, looks often don't really matter, as they're just standard personal preference. Many perfect their VR avatars and have it embody their personality, allowing their personality to shine through instead of physical appearance. And many others use iconic characters they relate to in order to express themselves. This builds confidence in many people, especially those who are insecure about their real-life appearance. However, once again, this can have many negative effects.
As far as identity goes, I'm still really true to myself, and how I talk to people and everything is really who I am. I just have to be careful with sharing my personal information.
I suppose it's at least made me look at people differently and think more about how they would feel about things.
Like, I'm not really used to talking in real life, just only a few words and that's it, I'm gonna go silent. But in this one, I'm able to talk like normally.
But the one thing that I have struggled with sometimes with VRChat and having these awesome avatars is that sometimes I feel like I don't like who I see in the mirror in real life. I feel like I'm not this perfect anime girl with perfect skin and perfect body, and just kind of having a internal struggle with my self-esteem based on the avatars I'm surrounded with, especially being a woman in the game and seeing the majority of avatars being used in the game are primarily, really busty women, very attractive. So I definitely have a personal issue with body image when I play this game too much. But other than that, I'd say it's more of a positive thing. In VRChat, I found who I think I really am, which is a dance teacher. And socially, I feel like I'm better at socializing now, and I've found my people.
Yeah, I can see it. I have friends who have played this for many hours, and I can see them affected them.
Comparing my avatars to myself, I suppose it makes me look at myself and accept myself a bit more.
I don't know how that affects their psyche, but I think it might have had some effect on them at one point.
Oh yeah, some of them, even some guys, are wearing a female avatar and they are comfortable about it.
The perfection of VRChat avatar appearances can often cause users to lose their confidence in their real-life appearance. This is heartbreaking, as sometimes perfectionist standards of VRChat users transfer to real life, causing people to lose self-esteem and try to chase ridiculous beauty standards. Whereas in other cases, many users learn to see past physical appearance through VRChat and begin to focus on personality and charisma of others. For some users, the charm of being the ideal perfect person can really get to their head. In most public VRChat instances, you will encounter a group of people the community have dubbed mirror dwellers, a type of person who is often found sat in front of a VR mirror staring at themselves. Looking in a VR mirror is obviously completely normal, and checking out how you look in VR is understandably surreal. However, these users often sit in front of these mirrors for multiple hours at a time. Many of them will blankly even ignore anyone who tries to speak to them, just to stare at themselves in a mirror. Many spend their lives living in this broad VRChat culture, many completely passively and harmlessly, and others just neglect the real world in turn for a more favourable perfect world. However, even in virtual reality, where you can be anyone, perfection is nothing more than an idea, an undefinable and unattainable social standard.
Hi, I'm Lily, and I mostly use VRChat to hang out with friends, meet others, and take VRChat photos, which I do post on my Insta. So I've been playing for about, I'd say, 7 to 8 months now, and I regularly play at least 4 or 5 hours a night. It's not overly stressful, but I feel like the more time I spend in VRChat, the more I want to spend in VRChat. You can't get off. The moment you're on and it's time to get off, you just don't want to go. Yeah, it is addictive. Like, it took me a while to just get used to like lower hours than like I used to play for, let's say, I don't know, 6, maybe 7 hours a day. And I've been knocked down, so I'm gradually unaddicting myself. The first day, yes, it was like, not that social. I don't like this. Too anti-social for me. But the more I played, the more I got into it.
What would you say the main thing that keeps you playing VRChat is then? Is it the people? Is it the avatars? The worlds?
I'd say the people, because if you think about it, the worlds, you go there alone. Yes, it's beautiful, but it's lonely without people. I used to be very antisocial in real life, but recently I've become more social around people, even if they're like strangers or like new classmates or such. Recently discovered like new things I like thanks to others. Like I recently only like got into the full-on fairy thing, but now I've realized that might be a part of me.
So on the topic of like toxicity from older users and harassment, is that something that you've personally experienced in VRChat or like personally seen happen?
I've seen it happen, and I've personally had it like done to me. So let's say, for example, either if I'm in my fairy avatar or my normal avatar, either way, someone will end up coming up to me being like really toxic. So if it's in the fairy avatar, obviously it'll be like, ew, it's a fairy, we don't agree with you, get rid of them. And then in my normal avatar, it'll be more of an e-boy trying to find an e-girl to mess up, basically. There'll be like little avatars that turn out to be like, you'll think they're like, oh, little cute little babies, probably about 16 you'd think, but end up being like 30 or 35, much older. Had an experience once with that. Never going back to that. But a lot of girls do get harassed, but boys do too. Considering it's a social platform, you should know that people may not be the age you think they are. I do know that experience, because I once met a person who said they were 17, then said to my friends they were 19, and then turned out to be 30. So that's one massive awareness you need to be aware of. Always be careful who you hang around with. Apart from that, there is the good experience where you do meet amazing people. You get to know them, you hang out, you become more happy in a way, like perked up like a child. You get to play around with like the toggles, like how I do VR photography. It perks me up because of the experience I get out of it. I'll take photos with friends, share those memories online.
All complex things start simple, and that's where we start. The universe is big, really big. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. Our desire to learn has brought us a wealth of knowledge about the world we live in, and drove us to study it in even greater detail for millennia. Thanks to the works of the great thinkers of the past and present, you can now sit back comfortably and enjoy the marvelous journey that's about to begin. Welcome to Neos, the Universe.
As a platform, Neos allows its users to create within the application. This includes worlds, avatars, games, movies, animations, tools, resources, and so much more. It allows its users to physically interact with the space around them to aid in crafting their creations. To learn more about this awesome platform and community, I sat down with a few notable figures in the space to discuss how Neos really works.
I'm Zyra. I'm a gamer, artist, and a Twitch streamer. I'm a user here on Neos as well, though I do some like content creation. Like I help out a little bit with projects and stuff here and there.
So yeah, I'm Brodok, just a simple Neos user, and it's all I want to say.
How did you guys each find out about Neos then?
For me, it actually started in VRChat, because I didn't even have VR at the time. So, and this was when Neos didn't have desktop mode. So, I started in VRChat. VRChat got me into retexturing models because I wanted my own custom textures. So I taught myself how to retexture models. And I'm like, you know what? This is actually really fun. So I decided I might want to try a business at it at some point. And that's what made me get a VR set, because I needed to be able to test it, like in VR, to make sure it worked. And it was right about the time I got my index that I heard about Neos through the Rexolium Discord, because that was one of the first models that I selected.
I was searching a bit something like VRChat, but a bit more, so something like Neos, because I wanted to be able to do more than just be in the world and do social stuff. I wanted to create or at least be able to create and customize stuff I was having around me, and then I found it was a video on Steam of Neos, and I was like, okay, now I need a VR headset. I need to try. I need to explore.
For me, the thing that made me stay here was the community. Like right from the very beginning, like my very first day here, like I jumped into a world to get some help setting up my avatar for the first time, and I met Wraith, and he was helping me set up my avatar, which was the Rexolium, and I was telling him how I chose the Rexolium because I liked how expressive they are. And this was before the HTC facial tracker had come out. Well, he says, oh, you think it's expressive now? He called in Fruix, which is the main developer of Neos, and to show off the facial tracker. And, well, Fruix came in and was like making faces, and was like, my favorite thing was he puffed up his cheeks and he was like blowing bubbles out of his mouth, and just like out of pure reflex, right? I reached out to touch it, right? And the bubble popped, and I just went bananas, right? Like just absolutely bananas. And from there on, I was just like a really hyperactive kid hopped up on caffeine and sugar in the world's biggest toy store.
My very first map I created, no, was not that one, was this one. It's called Rainy Forest. It's a recreation of the one from VRChat.
What is the reason that you create in Neos over any other platform?
That's a really difficult question to answer. The main reason being is that I can just... It's just easier for me. Or the fact, look, I can just edit my avatar like this, right? I can just modify it. Look, I can just modify material properties. But, like, look, for example, I have a menu item inside my menu. It allows me to, like, cue my avatar.
We actually met through our mutual friend Nordwick. I was still within like my first couple weeks here, and I'd met Nordwick. He was doing Logix, which is the visual-based coding, and like I was really curious about the Logix and how it worked. So I hung out with him and watched what he was doing, because he was like working on like a DBZ style Kamehameha attack. In scripting that with the Logix, and I was just absolutely fascinated. Well, he likes to bounce around and help other people with their projects too, and I wound up following him to Chris's world, which is where Brodock was when we first met. If anything, I'm more free in the virtual space than I am in the real world space, because in the real world space I have to live and act by society's expectations of a normal person. I have to pretend like I'm normal and not neurodivergent, whereas here it's pretty widely accepted. People are just who they are, and it's fine. You can be neurodivergent and nobody cares or bats an eye.
With virtual reality, I was able to understand more about myself, like just about being a furry. Just that, for example, when I actually try Avatar in in VRChat and not in Neos first, because there is a lot of free avatar on VRChat and you can try them pretty easily. And I was fitting only in either robots avatar or furries avatar. And I feel this make me grow a lot in my life to be able to understand myself, and it's still not finished, but yeah.
Because you get a sense of physical presence that you don't get on like just a flat screen or with text or even video. You know, even video, like you don't have this sense of physical presence, whereas here in VR you do.
So I made this. Actually, in order to get the actual experience, it has to be backwards from the camera. So when I click this, you can see I go into the Roblox fan. It's a recreation of a Roblox kidnap command. It was actually one of my very first Logic's creations. Also Neos is pretty cool because it allows mods. No, don't get me wrong, Neos doesn't support them. But they do allow them because they are possible. By the way, this is how it works. It's a lot of gobble. Quite frankly, I forgot how it works. So. Wait, no!
Oh no! There you go. Oh, there he goes.
If you're looking to join Neos for the first time, don't be afraid of joining a world and just asking someone for help. The community here, from my personal experience, has been very lovely, warm, and welcoming. Everybody's kind, and regardless of whether a person is a mentor or not, odds are they'll want to lend a hand. This is a platform for creators, and you will actively meet creators as they are going about their business and either socializing or even developing their systems or what have you. If you're looking for worlds to explore, there are many different worlds. Mystic Forge and Hardlight have some really good worlds to explore. Mystic Forge has some puzzle worlds like the Cabin of Seasons. Hardlight has a rave cave and a world where you can build your own sword. So they're definitely worth checking out if you're looking for something interesting. Just to get a taste, there's like so many more worlds that have been developed that I can't think of them all right now.
Yeah.
And that concludes our investigation into social VR. An incredible experience for me to be able to dive into these awesome communities and discover more about them than I could have ever imagined. I have been active in the social VR community for the past 3 years, and yet from this experience, from this making of this documentary, I have learned so much stuff that I didn't even know. And there's so much more stuff that I need to learn too. And that's why this project has been so special to me. I've been able to go out there and do something that I've really enjoyed and cover a topic that I'm personally super passionate about, and honestly, it's just been great. Regardless of how well this documentary performs, I honestly don't really care. I have had such a good time making this documentary, and I have had a really good time editing and hopping into VR to really just cover something that I'm passionate about and work on a project that I'm genuinely just doing for fun and really enjoying. Something that I have wanted to make for a while, but have just felt like there's no real audience for it and no one that would really care if I made it. So that's why I have a massive thank you to give to Joe Hunting, a massive inspiration of mine and somebody who has made me realize through his virtual reality documentary We Met in VR that this is something that's possible. I can totally make content inside of VR. I can totally work on projects like this. And it's something that people do have an interest in. And it's not just me. And regardless of whether 10 people watch this, 2 people watch this or 10,000 people watch this. It's special to me because it's covering a topic that's close to my heart, and it's special to me because it's something that I have genuinely really enjoyed making. So I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has stuck around and watched this whole documentary. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has helped me with making this documentary. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has supported this documentary as it's being made, everyone who's been excited for this documentary's release, everybody who is watching the live premiere of this documentary in VRChat. Hello! God, that's going to be awkward if the premiere doesn't happen. Hello, if you are watching this in the premiere. Everyone who's watching like the final released version of the documentary is going to be so confused. Hello, everyone watching at home. But genuinely, I am just super stoked to have been able to make this. Thank you guys for checking out this documentary. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you. So, if there's one thing that I want everyone to take away from this video, is that you shouldn't underestimate the social VR community, and if you haven't already checked out social VR, or you haven't even checked out VR before, I really recommend that you go ahead and do it. Even if it's something like going to a local VR arcade to play some Beat Saber or something, I think VR is something that everybody should give a shot. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a VR enthusiast or that I'm trying to boost VR sales, I'm saying that because I mean it. Virtual reality is something really, really special that I do think everyone should experience at least once, and at a good quality. So if you played on a Google Cardboard or on an old PSVR, I urge you to just give VR another shot, because as you can probably see from this documentary, it's pretty incredible. And yeah, I think that's all I want to say.